Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. So first of all, I want to know if my audio's fine. I'm hearing a slight buzzing in my headphones, but I do edit it out. I do throw a noise gate and all that stuff on there, but I'm still hearing it, and I think it could just be interference from the floor here because there's a lot of cords on the floor here. I gotta clean all that up, but I've been doing some recording like just with my guitar and stuff like that, and every time I switch out the mic and then I put the cord in for the patch cord, it seems to create this buzzing. So I don't know if it's actually picking up in the actual videos. I don't think it is, but I just thought I would throw that out there. So in this video though, I do want to talk about the 6 bonus episodes of The Walking Dead. I've been wanting to do a review of these, and then also I want to do a review of season 10 as a whole. And I also want to do a review of the Whisperer arc, and that's including season 9 and 10. And so this is kind of the first of that. I want to talk about these 6 bonus episodes because I do think you can take these ones and separate them from the first 16 episodes, because obviously these were written afterwards. They had no idea they were going to be doing these at all. So they had no idea the show was ending, right? So I wanted to give my review of these 6 bonus episodes now that it's been about a month and a half, 2 months. It's been almost 2 months, yeah, or about a month and a half since it came out, right? So I wanted to get my thoughts on this. So obviously this will contain spoilers for The Walking Dead. And if you are new here, obviously make sure to hit the subscribe button if you do want more Walking Dead content like this. The show is returning very soon. That trailer is going to be coming very soon. So if you want more videos on Fear the Walking Dead, The Walking Dead, my trailer breakdowns, news breakdowns, and all of that, just make sure to be a subscriber. Now, the first thing I wanted to talk about was actually the ratings for these 6 new episodes. I just wanted to kind of get that out of the way. I do think, I'll say this, I do think at this point the ratings don't really matter. And the reason why is because the show's ending. Like, there's just kind of this feeling of like, well, it doesn't really matter anyways because the final season's coming. So if the ratings drop very, very low, then it's like, oh, who cares? The show's over now, right? Like, it's kind of just fans watching this now. And it's kind of always been that way. Like, Fear the Walking Dead, there's not as many viewers for Fear the Walking Dead as there is for The Walking Dead. And I noticed it on my channel. For Fear the Walking Dead videos, the views aren't near as high as The Walking Dead. When I do Walking Dead videos, those views will go up higher to like up to 50,000 to 100,000 per video. And it has not been like that for Fear the Walking Dead. They'll usually range between like 10 and 20,000 around there kind of sometimes, right? So the fan base for The Walking Dead is definitely larger, and I find it weird. I mean, I guess that's understandable. I totally get it. It's just that season 6 of Fear has been so good. You kind of want to get the word out there. Like, go watch this show. Go watch Fear season 6. You're going to really love it. But yeah, I don't know. With these 6 newer episodes, like if you look at all of season 10 and just kind of, it's not an accurate average, but it's around like 3.4 million around there, 3.3, 3.4 million, I would say. Yeah, that was basically the average for those first 16 episodes. And then with these 6 bonus episodes, it starts to average out about 2.4 million, I would say. Yeah, because this one has 2.8. The rest of them have 2.2, 2.1, 2.1, 1.9, and then 2.1 for Here's Negan, or 2.1 million. So I would say, yeah, 2.4 million, because that 2.89 would definitely bring that up. But I would say that makes sense too. When you compare those ratings to stuff that happened beforehand, that also makes sense because those 6 newer episodes on my channel anyways for views weren't as high as what the viewership was for the actual, like, all of Walking Dead season 10. And it's because they are bonus episodes and they were marketed like that. And that is smart too, because you want to let fans know that these are bonus episodes. These aren't like real big episodes that are going to be progressing the story in big ways. These are very character driven. And so that kind of sets up all the fan base for, like, I guess sets them up for disappointment in a sense, just because you're not getting that. But they're bonus episodes. They're just kind of like these little character stories. So don't expect a lot, but you might find some enjoyment in there. And I'm happy that we got them over not getting them, right? Like, we got Here's Negan because of this. I'm so happy that this happened. If this never happened, I don't know if we would have gotten that, to be honest. And so the ratings, like, it makes sense. I don't think the ratings are actually dropping to like 2 million around there. I do think when the final season airs this summer, it's going to pick back up to like 3 million for sure. 3 to 4 million around there. And I imagine, like, I don't know how high it's going to get for like that final episode, but it's going to go higher. It might go to 5 or 6 million around there, but I don't see it ever going back up to like 17 million or whatever the hell it was before. I can't remember what episode that was. It was I think actually it might have been No Sanctuary or something like that. I think it was 17 million then. That was nuts. And I remember the way The Walking Dead was back then too. Like it was everywhere. And that's the big difference now, I would say, is that like now it's the fan base and everyone kind of watches it still. And there's still a huge audience for it. But it was like a cultural event back then. It was massive. And I still think it's going to be a pretty big moment when the show ends too. Because a lot of people I know who used to watch it are like, oh, I have to catch up, or I want to watch the last episodes because they invested so much time years ago, right? I remember the way The Walking Dead was, especially late season 4, early season 5. I remember talking with a lot of people, just a lot of people I used to know back then anyways, and all the excitement for the show. It was so crazy. Zombies were so big, and I can't believe the show was ending right away. But then again, when I think of that, when I think of when those, I remember when the trailer came out for season 5. I remember, I think I was just laying in my bed, and I think I just watched it on YouTube, and I remember the excitement I had. It was just like, oh my God, like it looks so insane when you saw Rick and all of them just on their knees like that, and the whole termite situation. It was terrifying, and I was wondering how the hell they were going to get out of that situation. I had no idea at all. And remember, I wasn't a comic reader at all. I had no idea. And so it's been such a journey. It's been such a fun ride. And yeah, that's why the ratings were that high. It was any show that's on for 11 seasons, 10, 11 seasons, their ratings are going to drop down really low. But it's going to happen. You're going to hit a high point and then it's going to start to drop off. I know Carl's death and certain other big moments affected the show for sure. And like the Savior arc and all that. And I guess Glenn and Abraham's death, the show was going to decline in viewership. And it's like what Norman Reedus always says, they're kind of competing with themselves. So they're kind of sick of hearing about the ratings at this point, right? And I do kind of agree. Now that the show is ending, I'm just like, yeah, you know what? It doesn't really matter. Ratings are more relevant, I guess, if the show was going to continue on for years and years and years. Because then you're like, okay, well, if there's only 300,000 people, like imagine if it got to that point, I don't think it ever would, but if it was like 300,000 people watching, are you still going to keep continuing this show? And so in that sense, ratings are kind of relevant, but since the show is now like ending next season, I don't think it really matters. I actually think what people are pointing out more now, because I noticed I'm not really seeing a lot of articles on the rating specifically. What I'm seeing is actually overall episode reviews. And a lot of them are praising that, like this episode is the highest rated one of whatever, or this season is the highest rated. They're focusing more on that now, which I think is actually smarter because there's also other things you got to take into account with these ratings as well. Like people watch on AMC Plus, that's not accounted for on here. There's a lot of things that aren't accounted for on here. Like this is live television viewers. Who watches stuff on cable anymore? I actually don't even watch it on cable anymore. I watch it on AMC Plus. So if that's not counting my view on that, then I mean, yeah, that perfectly, like that explains it right there. And so with these 6 bonus episodes, I do think they were really nice. Were they needed? Not necessarily. But I like you got to remember too, like that episode 16, when that was filmed in November of 2019. It was filmed so long ago. They never had enough time to release it, or to release it on time anyways, and they eventually released it in October, but we weren't getting any Walking Dead content. There was nothing, and it's also kind of the perfect time because we were in this pandemic, and it's like, here's some bonus content, here's some stuff to watch, because like, I think they mapped everything out perfectly. The 6 new episodes, were they amazing? Not really. Like Home Sweet Home, I liked that episode. Home Sweet Home was a pretty good episode. That's actually the highest rated episode, probably because it's a premiere. But I actually really liked that episode because it was Maggie's return. We explored the Reapers, which is a group we're going to get into in the final season. I don't know how much. It's probably going to be a small thing, but it was a nice episode to see Maggie come back and her join the group. And I feel like she's actually there in Alexandria now. It was a lot of fun to see her with Negan. The episode overall was good. It was a good episode. Find Me with Daryl and Leah was also a really good episode. I enjoyed that one. I think now I prefer episode 17 over 18. But I did like this one with Leah. It was cool to see Daryl on his own, finding love in that. And it was an interesting side to him that I've never seen. I never thought we would ever see on the show. So I'm glad we got that. That was really cool. Those 2 episodes, solid episodes, to be honest. I really liked them. One more was the episode with Father Gabriel and Aaron. And this episode was good. It definitely was a very character-driven episode. And I loved Robert Patrick playing the character of Maze and the vibe he brought to the show. The fact that he had a twin upstairs. Like, That was nuts. It was creepy. It reminded me of X-Files. I enjoyed this episode. It was one of my favorite ones until the finale. And so these first 3 episodes, I would say, are solid. They're not like, I would say that the negative side to these episodes so far, at least for me, is that it's not really progressing the story at all. It kind of feels like a bottle episode, right? Because they kind of are that. It's almost like filler. And it's good filler. You are enjoying it. It's entertaining, but you know that no big reveals are happening. You're not building to anything. These are kind of just bonus episodes. And so there's that vibe to them still. Even though I enjoyed these first 3, there's still that vibe to them. And then you get to Splinter. I guess you want to give some princess backstory. It's just that, I don't know, that I think they could have done a little bit more here with the Commonwealth arc. Or not with the Commonwealth arc, but with the Commonwealth. I think they could have advanced the story a little bit more here. And they didn't, which is fine. But this episode I just found to be pretty boring. And I like the princess. I'm not trying to say that the princess was the worst part about it, but she kind of was too a little bit. Like, I don't know what it was. It was just boring. And obviously the actress Paula Lazaro, if I'm saying her name correctly, she was awesome in this scene. Like, she was great in this episode entirely. She was awesome. It was amazing to see Kari Payton in there. And I think the way that they addressed like her mental health issues, I thought it was awesome. I think that what they did there, it was perfect. It wasn't ignorant to people who go through things like that. They took everything into consideration. And they left on a very positive note, and it was a lot of positive thinking, which I think is the perfect message that you want to end off with there. And I think the episode, in terms of what you're doing with Princess, it was awesome. It's just that, like, because we saw the Commonwealth in the trailers and all that, it was just a big disappointment, I would say, overall, because we thought we would get something more with the Commonwealth, and we got nothing at all. It was just that, which was, again, it was a really emotional story. In terms of Commonwealth stuff and some of the setup here and getting into it and expecting more, I was definitely very disappointed. And then we get into Diverged, and I still don't get the point of this one. I did enjoy it a little bit more than what people were saying, and I think it's because I went into the episode expecting the worst. Like, I went into the episode expecting it to be completely terrible. And it wasn't that, but it was still bad. I honestly enjoyed a little bit anyways. Carol, like, looking around for that rat inside the house. Like, it was still a little entertaining. It was fun, but, and also the stuff with Jerry, like the comedic timing that guy has is awesome. I love both of them together. It was, as good as those moments were, I still never got the point of the episode. And that was, at this point, I was just like, I don't know why they released it. I thought it was definitely the worst episode of these 6, I would say. It's hard. I go back and forth between this one and Splinter. This one I might have to say is worse, but yeah. My biggest issue here is that at the end, Daryl and Carol kind of forgive each other, but they didn't. And that's the thing with these 6 episodes. It ends where it started off, right? Like, Carol and Daryl in the very beginning were kind of emotionally distant. They never had that big outburst, but they were kind of, there was some tension there because of what happened with Connie. And then they get this emotional outburst and all of that in episode 18. They have this big fight. And 21, at the very end, they kind of make up a little bit, but they don't, right? Like, they're okay with being around each other. But again, it goes back to, there's this emotional disconnect there. And you just kind of go back to what it was. Same with Maggie and Negan. Like, we get to see their reaction, so there's that. But at the end, Maggie is still mad about it. There was nothing resolved. It's kind of like that. If you go through every episode, everything is like that. Nothing happened in these 6 new episodes. But what was very welcomed for sure was Here's Negan, because there actually was a point to this episode, which was the fact that we got Negan's backstory for the first time in a very, very long time. And that to me was amazing. I like this character a lot now. I love Negan. I love Lucille. I'm so happy that Hilary Burton actually played the character. I thought obviously their chemistry was going to be really amazing, but you could just see it on screen, and it worked so well for the character. It wasn't awkward. You didn't see their relationship. Well, you saw the relationship for the right reasons, but like, you didn't see Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Hilary Burton. You actually saw Negan and Lucille. It looked very complex. It looked like they really loved each other, and what he had to go through, the mistakes he made, and just everything. You can tell they really loved each other, and how that built him up to become Negan in the end was just incredible. And I totally understand why he became the person he became, why he did what he did. He kind of had to. He had to live for Lucille, and it was just hard for him to get back to who he was supposed to be. And now he kind of is at that point. He burned Lucille. He even apologized for naming a stupid bat after her. Like, I love that scene. Now the fan base, at least most of them, support Negan, and Maggie's whole hate for him, everyone's pissed at. And like, now you kind of have to calm people down there. Like, don't hate on Maggie so much. Like, I know she lost Glenn a long time ago, but if this was real life, this would be totally understandable. Like you always have to put that into context. You got to remember that. So yeah, overall, I would say these 6 newer episodes, if I were to give it a rating out of 10, and like taking into account the very bad, like with Divergent Splinter, and the very good with Here's Negan, and I would say Home Sweet Home, and one more is there. I would say that these bonus episodes, it would probably be, I don't want to give it too bad of a rating. I'm kind of around like a 6.5 to 7 out of 10. That's kind of where I'm at. Like, I want to give it more of a 6.5 because that's kind of how I feel. I just don't know if that's fair, because Here's Negan was obviously a 10 out of 10. Like, that episode was a 10 out of 10. I guess the smart thing that I should have done was rate each episode out of 10 and then kind of average it out to see what it would actually be. But just actually looking at these 6 newer episodes here, that makes a lot more sense. Like, having Here's Negan 10 out of 10, Home Sweet Home, I'd say it's 7 out of 10, Find Me 7 out of 10, One More is an 8 out of 10. Splinter and Diverged are like 3 or 4s out of 10. So that's yeah, Splinter's 4 out of 10, Diverge is 3 out of 10. So you know what? I'm going to do that math really quick. Okay, so if I add that up, 39 divided by 60 is 0.65. Yeah, so times 100, and that is 65%. So that actually adds up perfectly. So I guess that is my rating here of the 6 bonus episodes. It's a 6.5 out of 10. That's perfect, as if it actually worked out that way. And so I'd like to hear what you guys thought about these 6 newer episodes, so definitely post your reviews of all of them, and maybe do the same thing I did, like rate each episode out of 10, and then just kind of do like a percentage of that or whatever, and that would be your rating out of 10, right? So yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed this review of these 6 newer episodes. I'm going to get to work on my Whisper arc review, or the season 10 review. I'm not exactly sure which one I'm going to work on yet. I don't know when it's going to come out, so don't expect it in the next few days or anything like that, but I definitely want to work on that, and yeah, I should get that out pretty soon for sure. So post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.